12 spies. The people of Israel have left Mount Sinai and they have moved north to the southern part of the Negev desert. They go to a place called Kadesh Barnea. There, as the story goes, Moses sent in 12 spies, one from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. They traveled the entire length of modern-day Israel. In fact, they go on even farther into what we call Syria. Some say they go 25 miles north of the Sea of Galilee, and others say they go as much as 100 miles north of the Sea of Galilee. After 40 days, they travel back down south to give a report. They give a bad report, except for the two. Once God makes it clear to them that they are not going in the land, a group of them form an army and go in by themselves. They go north up to east of Beersheba, where they go into battle. The Amalekites come there and some of the Canaanites. One of the city-states that go out to battle with them, the major one, is from Arad. As I've said before, I've spent some time there, and there's a beautiful archaeological site that is well worth the visit. Now they have to spend 38 more years. They've already spent a couple of years, making a total of 40, but they have about 38 years left before they can go into the land. I always thought that that was 30-some years of wandering, going from place to place. Wasn't until actually I got into the stories and into the scripture that I realized, no, they didn't wander around. Yes, they left Kadesh Barnea and moved around a little bit, but finally they settled down and stay in one location for most of that time. And there was one reason: water. God was providing them manna to eat, but He wasn't providing them water. Well, there was a couple of times that Moses hit the rock and water came out, but that was not here. And so they needed to have a water system. Well, I was curious. I thought, if 2 million people are going to stay in the Negev desert for 30-some years, there has to be a footprint. So I traveled south, going down into that area. And as I would move along, I kept asking questions. I never told anyone exactly what I was looking for, but I was asking questions about how can a large group of people live here and have water. Well, people start saying that I should go to Laz cisterns. I ignored it at first, but everyone kept saying that. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go find this place. And I go out to a place called Laz cisterns. To my amazement, here is an area that's several miles square with cisterns across it and a few wells. Every little valley coming down from the hills have small dams that catch whatever water falls and routes it into one of these cisterns. It was a water system. I looked up some of the studies on this, and some said, well, this goes back to the days of Solomon. I thought, well, if you're going back to Solomon, these are truly ancient cisterns, this whole system is. And Moses is just 400 years before that. But recent studies show that, no, it goes beyond, it goes back farther than Solomon. Literally, it goes back to the days that Moses was somewhere in this area. As I stood there looking around, I saw the hills, and my first question is, why did the people stay here? I mean, just north is Beersheba, north of the Negev, and a wonderful land on top of that. Why did they choose to stay here? And then I realized, well, if it's facing giants are staying here, this is a desolate place. Why would they do that? Then it dawned on me, they didn't. It wasn't between there and here. It was between there and going back to Egypt. Moses said, no, that's not the option. It's not going back to Egypt. It's staying here. That's why they said, oh, well, if that's the case, then we'll go into the land. God said, no, you're going to stay here. As I stood there looking around on those hills, in my imagination, I could see tents everywhere. I can see the early morning when the women are working over their open fire kitchen, preparing the food for the day. Young men are taking their goats and their sheep out to find pasture of some sort. Men or fathers are talking to one another, making arrangements for a wedding between a young man and a young woman. Children are being born all the time, and funerals, every day funerals. You see, the people weren't waiting to go somewhere. They were waiting to die. It was a sad experience standing here realizing what the people had done. But it's a wonderful place to visit. If you ever get a chance, you need to go there, because standing there brought this story alive to me, realizing these people had made their choice. Come back when we give you more insights on the story.